Yo, what is up, y'all? This is King of the Ninth Inning, and today I'm going to explain to you guys how Fernando Tatis Jr. came from a boy in the Dominican Republic to getting a 14-year, $340 million contract with the San Diego Padres. So, Fernando Tatis Jr., aka El Nino, came from the Dominican Republic to the U.S. and got signed by the Chicago White Sox in 2016. Now, he wasn't the biggest thought of prospect at the time because there were prospects such as Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Juan Soto, Christian Posh, who were really hyped up prospects. Now, Juan Soto is the only one has played us to the level of Fernando Tatis. Well, Vladdy still has the potential there, and Christian Posh really hasn't amounted to much yet so far. So he comes to the U.S., and he's in the White Sox farm system now. He's on his come up. He's only 16 years old when he came over to the U.S. Still a young man / he's still a teenager when he comes over to the U.S. Still hasn't even played yet, but he got signed to a pretty nice contract. But it wasn't so big, especially with all the big prospects. Like to get Yohan Moncada, who I think was signed the year before. They had to pay a 100% tax increase, the Red Sox did, which was ridiculous. And now he's on the Chicago White Sox, matter of factly, from the Chris Sale trade. And Tatis ends up staying there. Then he gets dealt to the White Sox for James Shields and Matt Kemp. Now, at the time, the White Sox were looking to contend. They had Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, and Hector Rondon as their starting rotation. Free agent Matt Latos had not done so well that far, and they were looking for someone to help seal that rotation. So the team was 29-26. They were doing pretty good at the time. And then they trade Fernando Tatis, who wasn't, again, accounting too much at the time. But everyone liked his swing. He had a big arm, and he still had the potential, ridiculously. Now, James Shields, who was doing perfectly fine that year, and then he had a bad game, and it raised his ERA from a 3 to a 4, which was okay. The Padres, who weren't really contending for anything at the time, their best players were Will Myers and Hunter Renfroe. They didn't have anything to fight for. They also had Matt Kemp, who wasn't set in the deal, and these players were in their 30s and were sent to a team to contend. Now, Tatis, who was sent over, was not even the main prospect in the trade. The main prospect was Eric Johnson, who was a 26-year-old pitcher who was drafted in the second round by the White Sox in prior years. And then we all know how the story ended up going. So Tatis comes over. He starts to perform. He's looking extremely great in the farm system. Ends up their number one prospect. Comes up to the MLB in 2019, playing 84 games. Remember this, 84 games, has 106 hits, 22 home runs, 53 RBIs, 6 triples on a 317 batting average, 379 on base, 590 slugging, and 969 OPS. So he's looking great, ends up third in Rookie of the Year voting, which those are numbers that you could win most years, but I feel like it was a pretty talented rookie class last year. I think Juan Soto was still there. And then he comes out this year, only playing 59 games, ends up hitting 17 home runs on 45 RBIs, 277 average, 366 on base, 571 slugging, and 937 OPS. Now, the average and OPS and on base aren't as high as the past year, but they're still really good for a major leaguer. He ends up fourth in MVP voting, and he wins, I think he won the shortstop Gold Glove this year. No, he won the Silver Slugger, and I think he came somewhere in the Gold Glove. He's a great fielder, an insanely good hitter for a shortstop, and that is the story of how Fernando Tatis Jr. came from a boy from the Dominican Republic to being a $340 million player, almost $500,000 player. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys